Hello and welcome to Rock Hill, South Carolina and Disc Golf Network's coverage of the 2022 United States Disc Golf Championship. I am Nate Sexton and I'm joined by Brian Earhart.
Great to be here, Nate. It's always nice to be out here at Winthrop Gold. 24 years in the making. They've stretched the course out over time. Pretty impressive that they've still been able to create challenge for the players after all this time.
Yeah, it always gets a little harder, and it starts right here on hole one, which I can remember feeling like an easy hole a long time ago, but I think those days are pretty much gone. You got this tight little gap going off the tee, double Mando, as you can see, those evil boulders that they brought in a couple years ago that bring the floor up so much. And then this log has that same effect where you just cannot slide this thing up there. You have to throw it really committed to get it over this, and it's about 60 feet. Like, if you hit that log, good luck. You're probably not getting out of there with birdie.
There's so many opening holes on tour that require just a blast of a power shot. I love touch to start around.
Me too.
Okay, with our final tee time of the first round of the 2022 United States Disc Golf Championship. Teeing off first, representing California, 6-time world champion and 3-time United States champion, Paul McBeth.
Got a great group today, as Andy Green said. The final card off, the feature card for round one. Getting started with Paul McBeth. And that's not going to work. A little inside, and I think too low anyway. Even if he had gotten around that tree, I think that log was waiting for him.
Isaac Robinson.
There's so much coverage of players throwing this hole for like 20 years, and even the best players in the world just can't open the round with a 280-foot straight shot.
Yeah, I mean, that gap is, every year you throw this hole and it doesn't go as well as you want, except unless you're Isaac. Then it goes great.
Yeah.
And then you go home, and for a couple months you're like, what was wrong with me? And then you start to think the gap is huge.
World champion Gregg Barsby.
And then you show up to the tee and you hear Andy, and all of a sudden the gap is tiny again.
Yeah.
That's my experience. And then you're like, oh, well, okay, now I know why I didn't get a birdie last year. Can it beat the log?
Oh, yeah.
Oh!
It cooperates with the log.
Beautiful.
There we go.
That was really cool.
And representing Alabama, Matt Orum.
I think with this hole too, I mean, the mandatory miss is a re-tee. So the penalty is huge, and it just is. If it's not in the back of your mind, you're probably a little too cavalier. Like, you know, so it's a scary shot. I don't know. This is a good idea. If he did this on purpose, that's pretty impressive to me. Going outright, ignore the log, get around. I've thought about that, but man, it takes some really good angle control. You can tell a lot about a player's confidence and how they're feeling by how aggressively they take that putt, and McBeth had it set to level 10.
Exactly.
Like, he is not sweating a 29-foot comeback on the first hole of the major championship.
Not bad from Matt. It's interesting. You'd think this is just a walk in the park birdie. I equate a lot of shots on this course, though, to shooting free throws in the NBA championship.
Yeah, sure.
You know, very simple, very straight in front of you, but it's the adrenaline and the pressure that makes a lot of these shots tough to execute.
Great birdie there from Isaac. Matt will take the par, and Gregg, with that fancy skip off the log, is going to be able to tap in to start his championship off the right way. Brand new hole here. Hole 2, now a par 3, coming in at 409 feet, and it's a tight tee shot with a low ceiling. Players can take this shot that the drone is flying now with a little bit of turnover and try to work the disc right, or there's a low hyzer line for a power right-handed thrower. Mandatory tree here on the left, OB parking lot, and OB at least a meter off the fence, maybe a little more than that. So if you're right at all, you're also going to be out of bounds.
With you throwing counterclockwise with the forehand, are you okay with this change? Or are you going backhand?
Oh, I tried a backhand. I don't think forehand. I don't think I can make a birdie play with a forehand. I can lay up, but we're going to see Isaac go up the middle here. This needs just a little bit of drift back to the left to be perfect. And there it is. That's phenomenal.
I talked to so many players about this change, and they all just felt uncomfortable when they were talking about it. They didn't quite know what the shot was. There's multiple options they're giving them. But I knew someone was going to throw a shot like Isaac just threw.
Yeah, and here's the other option. You see that low ceiling come into play. You're throwing uphill quite a bit, and then those limbs just kind of work their way right into the way of the shot because you don't want to hit the ground really early. If you start flare skipping, you're going to find the OB left. This looks pretty good right here. Does it have the energy to go towards the out of bounds? It's going to stop right at the edge of the circle. Beautiful shot. Wow, I'm liking this one too.
I like the challenge that both options present.
Yeah.
You know, if you want to throw that hard hyzer, which is a little easier off to the right, you risk, like you said, flare skipping. So you have to push the disc forward a little bit in order to get that nice skip forward.
Yes. You know, Greg is eyeing this one up. This is that range that we always talk about every time we ever watch Greg play. And he does take a stab at it.
At this point, the fans know he's trying to throw in, so even if it's not even close, they're still...
Yeah, it's kind of must-see TV at this point. If Gregg Barsby's lining one up from 100 to 150. Oh, a little high out of the hand for McBeth. Honestly, fortunate it wasn't slightly higher. I think you honestly could skip out of bounds off the top of this basket. It's right there in those bushes. Nice birdie from Matt. It's going to be Isaac with a dream start. I don't think you're going to see a lot of 2 down through 2. It used to be pretty common, but these 2 holes, a little tougher than they have been in years past.
I mean, the first 5 holes in this course are extremely challenging. You're saying even potentially even is not bad.
Oh, I don't think it's bad at all. I think, yeah, 1 or 2 under is phenomenal through the first 5. Obviously, we'll see players a little better than that. But this hole right here is almost impossible. I mean, 841 feet. You're going downhill now instead of a 390-foot par 3 like we used to play. Now you're absolutely crushing a drive. You got this little circle of hazard. Doesn't really come into play. But that hazard on the left is just waiting for you. Anybody that tries to get aggressive and push left, which you have to do because there's a mandatory waiting for you. You're going all the way to traditional hole 4's basket. So if you're under the drone here, you got nothing.
That guardian tree right there on the right that the drone is just passing, it used to frame up the tee shot on hole 4, but now it makes it to where you can't just throw a driver flat. And have it crash out naturally. You have to intentionally push the disc past that really tough OB stretch on the left side. I've watched a lot of players attack this hole in practice, and it looks like probably the hardest birdie on the course.
Yeah, I think USDGC and a lot of the courses on tour, they're not afraid to push the envelope and to try to force the players to do more and make tougher shots. We'll see with this one. Like this to me is perhaps a pendulum swinging a bit too far. Let's see. These are the guys that might be able to make this birdie happen and change my mind. I got to see it done.
I think if the hole was a mirror image and it allowed for that turnover, I think it would be a really sweet par 4. But yeah, this is a tough hyzer shape that they have to hit.
I'm mostly curious to see how aggressive these guys feel like is warranted.
There was little to no wind that day.
That's nice. But, I mean, that is a great shot. But I still don't think he has much of a hope.
No, you have to throw much harder. That was a much more controlled shot. And normally the wind is a head cross to the right on this hole if you're playing traditional 3. So luckily they're playing in very calm conditions.
Yeah, yeah. Wind coming from that left side off the water would make this, you could never push the disc left enough. It's already hard enough to do. Matt's playing absolutely a layup. That's him going about 70%.
Yeah.
And this looks like a layup as well. It's so wide right to start. I mean, this is going to pull to a good spot, but even that's okay. He's going to have like a little gap to hit, but it's not too bad. You almost want to like brush these leaves on the left side of the gap if you're trying to be aggressive, I think.
Yeah, and it has to flip a little bit too.
Yeah.
Is that enough?
It's the best we see, but I don't think anyone's going to be circle 1 in 2 shots.
I mean, what I love is that the magic of that second shot of the original hole 4 is still there. You still have to throw that technical roller.
Yeah. And that's a great par play. That's his design there. He's going short and then flat. He's not even looking for that to work right. Remember that late mandatory is the defining feature here. These guys got to get around that and then back into that little grove of cypress.
Great shot.
Another good shot. You'd like to push that shot long if you can, just to make a straight shot down the hill. That should be fine as well. 80, 90 from the pin.
And you know, right there where he was at, he could have gone with a roller and he could have given it a shot.
Yeah.
Paul's also not going for it.
I just think, yeah, the roller is crazy. I mean, it can be done, but man, could it ever go wrong.
Yeah.
You could roll it out the long, you could miss the mandatory. With the new mandatory rules, if you looped that tree, even that would be a miss. So I think this is what you're going to see a lot of. Players just playing for position, trying to lay one in close, and you're going to see a lot of short par putts here. Because this is just not a green to get aggressive on. I don't think these guys are thinking about making this. Even Gregg Barsby not thinking about going after this. It slopes away. You push it 25 long. Now all of a sudden you're putting from a knee underneath these branches. You don't want to mess with this one, I don't think.
Yeah, this is one I think the players are just going to go to UDisc. They're going to study what the spread was. You know, it averaged to 4.34. So you wonder if players are actually going to keep going for birdie. And it's another one of those holes that's going to break in over time. I think hole 2 is also another hole that players are going to figure out what they want to do, when they want to attack. This is just all brand new, and it seems like obviously players like Paul expect this. He talked about that in the press conference. He knows that this is part of the tournament.
Sure. It's looking like a bunch of well-planned pars for this group. And now we'll make the walk over to the 4th and through 3 holes. Nobody perfect. Just 5 players able to do what Isaac did and shoot 2 under through those first 3.
Yeah, definitely playing much, much harder on the front 9 this year than it has in years past. And here's another one. This is such a challenging hole. It used to be the double-double Mando, much shorter pin position, and now they've tucked the basket back a ways. This is not easy.
Yeah, and that's not the basket. That bad boy back there is the one these guys are going after. So straight up the middle is a good option. There's a sneaky forehand that maybe can kind of escape the fairway if you get just around the mandatory. But I think we're going to see a lot of guys try to go up the middle here. It's low ceiling. You just got to get a perfect line and then a nice skip and slide forward. That was close. Still pretty good. Going to have an edge of circle putt potentially. Maybe a little farther. Oh, nice shot.
When he throws shots like that, it's almost like his entire body is facing the target before he even releases. It's almost like a forehand for him at this point. So weird.
Definitely not a form I've seen emulated. I mean, it's a cool thing to watch him throw. Gregg just a little bit too high, which is the common miss here. There's so many branches waiting for you. Paul looking for his first birdie of the day. This is a decent looking shot. Does it slow down for him? Oh yeah, he'll have a manageable putt there.
I like the idea of just throwing hyzer, not even trying to pin the basket, just giving yourself a 30-foot putt to the left.
Yeah, and you certainly don't want to be pin high right.
Exactly.
There's like a impenetrable bush over there. So if you go, well, whoa, oh my gosh. I've said it before, but it's a commentator's dream. Like, Gregg, you're just like, hey, he's pretty good at these, and he just delivers. Like, he just puts these credible bids on it every time. That guy, too, from that range, I haven't seen anybody smoother. I mean, Isaac's so nonchalant with the delivery. Beth to get under par, and he'll do that. Nice birdie from Matt.
Thank you, man. 62% flow.
Not a bad spread whatsoever, and we head on over to hole number 5. Just a classic hole from disc golf history, Nate.
Yeah, I think maybe the most famous hole out here, and one of those holes that I think almost everyone would include on that hypothetical Dream 18, because it's just so much challenge, so much decision making, and it's just a beautiful hole to play disc golf on. And changed this year, new parking area means no traffic on that road, which is huge. I mean, that's always just been like, oh, these people are leaving, they're coming in, we better wait. Just a little more distraction, and now just a little more serene, a little more quiet. They keep planting more of these little annoying trees in the fairway, so it gets a little harder every time to kind of find your line. But you're looking to throw 2 shots on this right side, push as far up the fairway as you can. Ideally, get yourself inside about 350 or so for that crossing shot. And as they do, making it tougher all the time, that basket is pushed at least 20 or 30 feet closer to the tip out there. So now going for the basket is no small feat. Trying to put that thing in circle 1 takes risk. I mean, you have to just kind of step up and throw a shot that could balloon into a big number to make birdie here.
I will say, the opening tee shot, I think they changed that maybe a year or 2 ago to where it's at now. If you have the power sidearm off the tee, it's a huge advantage throwing anything with counterclockwise spin.
Yeah, I mean, it's not the biggest shot you'll ever see is certainly the turnover, but the forehand is a great option here unless you do this. I don't know. That's going to be close, guys. Close is going to work, though. Wow. There's a string line right there, so you don't even have to be in the water. You get off that edge, you're out of bounds. You don't really like to see that thing on an Anheuser, but with Matt's backhand, that's not going to be a bad place to be. He's going to be able to go big, flat, kind of stalling backhand from there, I would think. That's more traditionally ideal forehand position. This is probably a mid-range.
Yeah, most definitely. You don't need to bite off too much on this opening shot. If you can throw straight, he's probably going to throw the exact same disc again.
Yeah. That one looks good. Nice and flat out of the hand.
It's funny, this course, you know, back then they wanted to challenge the left to right shot because the disc technology did not let you throw those stock forehands so easily.
Sure.
But now the game has evolved and they're trying to kind of revamp what challenging is. So I like to see, you know, how they've really balanced this course out, but there's not that many stock forehands off the tee anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, all these small trees come into play, certainly for the forehand thrower. You'd like to stay low with it, like Gregg's doing here. Wow, aggressive line. Yeah, that's nice. I mean, the closer to the water, the better, obviously. The basket's over there on the left, so as much as you're willing to push it. This is chewing up a lot of distance. He's going to be up to the right, but well down the fairway. Should be under 400 to the basket. And this is just not one of those spots you practice from, way down here by the water. But like I was thinking, you know, he does have the angle open up to him a little bit for that backhand. Potentially a little bit of a decision from back there.
This is a big shot.
Goes with that low shot, penetrating forward, and that's the right shot to play, because if he throws it perfectly, sure, he could reach circle one, but there's almost no chance he puts it in the water. Is this little tree a factor? No, I don't think so. Close to being a factor, though. And yeah, that's just a layup, I think, and smart. I mean, he's gonna have a long putt if he wants to test it, but that's exactly the miss you're looking for. Paul and Matt making the right decision there.
Really like how much this hole rewards you for playing chicken with the out of bounds.
Yeah, and reward is there's another word it can do too that isn't reward. When you play chicken with the out of bounds, it can be certainly a double-edged sword. As we see Isaac do a great job. He actually did have that tree kind of in his swing a little bit. Goes with a little more turnover. But yeah, you're right. I mean, the design is super intentional about that, that the closer you get, if you're like Gregg here and you push close, what a reward. He's throwing a shot now that looks like it's going to be pretty close if it has any brakes on it. But at least with a backhand coming across the green, he'll have a tap-in par. Just a layup there. Not a layup.
Yeah, was not ever expecting Isaac to lay up a putt. I don't think I've ever seen him do it.
Kind of like this guy right here. Wow, I'm not calling that a layup. I think that was unintentional. I think he's definitely trying to get that one, but man, is the subconscious ever a stickler for staying in bounds?
Yeah, exactly.
The subconscious does not like allowing your body to just blast a putt when there's water right behind it.
What do you think about this new pin position?
Scary.
Yeah,
very scary. It's harder. Like this has traditionally been a pretty good spot for me to go 3 power forehands. That pin position, I think the advantage clearly to the backhand on the third crossing shot, because you can be over the water and swing to the pin. If I want to get aggressive at that one, I sort of have to bring in the possibility of never crossing, advancing a matter of 20, 25 feet up to the edge of the water, and now all of a sudden you're thinking about a 7, you're thinking about an 8. Exactly. So it's tough. I'm trying to play it that same way. Set up a 40 or 50 footer. If I'm feeling great, maybe I loft one up.
Definitely.
This one, the beach hole, 371, straight down the middle. You got to go low as a right-handed player and try to get a couple skips onto the sand. There's OB right, and obviously there's the water left. And if you do go OB, it's straight to this death putt directly at the water from about 45 feet.
And this one hasn't changed too drastically over the years. This has been a pretty constant hole on this course.
And I got to mention that our drone flights are all like post-Hurricane Ian, like one day. So the course looking all haggard and watery and stuff in the way. That's not how these players are seeing it. The grounds crew did a great job cleaning everything up. Once you get up on this sand, you'll see it's a brand new truckload of bright white sand. This is looking pretty good. We've got a chance to see that sand right now. Yes. Fantastic shot from Matt. It was all pars there on 5. I think these guys are going to be pretty happy with that. This is inside to my eye. so much hyzer out of the hand.
Oh, wow. Way short.
And does not reach the sand. You don't really want to see hyzer immediately like that. It needs to have a little glide phase to extend. So Paul's going to be going to that drop spot. There's the flatness. And it needs to drift and take a couple of skips and sit before that line. Nope. There's a line a little short of that, actually. So he's also going to be drop spot. That was close, but just a little too straight. Oh no,
boy.
That doesn't look good to me. But somehow it is good. Really good hyzer on the end. I mean, I didn't like how much he flipped that thing, but man, he knows his disc. Overstable eagle, I think. So this for par. Oh.
That's the nightmare. That is the nightmare on that drop zone putt.
It's a reputt.
Yep.
This for double bogey. Oh.
That could have been a tournament-ending putt right there.
Pretty close to it.
If he would have done the same thing.
I mean, as it stands, it's going to be a 6. And saved by the flagpole. Whoa. Wow. That was
Paul's looked overconfident. His looked well undercommitted.
Yeah. Beautiful putt there. Sorry I said your shot didn't look good, Greg. That's my bad. Matt must be just barely in bounds here. If you go much farther in that, ooh, just barely in the basket as well. If you go much farther, you're OB. He did a great job there making birdie. And he's 3 under that. I think that's really good.
He looks fantastic. He's putting great. He's throwing the disc well. I haven't seen him make a true mistake yet.
And I think the place where you can attack this course starts now. The first 6, a lot of teeth, a lot of difficult shots and OB. As you get into 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, I think that's kind of the zone where players could potentially rattle off 5 in a row.
Definitely, most definitely. And even an eagle potentially on 10.
Absolutely.
Niklas Antila from Finland, the youngster. Tied Ricky Wysocki, Garrett Gerthy, Calvin Heimberg, 3 down. Hole number 7, another one of those free throw in the NBA championship shots, Nate. It's just right in front of you, 284, even less obstacles than hole number 1.
Yes, absolutely. And if the wind is down, you really would hope that your worst case would be hitting the bamboo. If you miss the bamboo entirely, now you've missed a mandatory and you've got to go to these drop spots that basically guarantee bogey. The only other concern coming through this gate with a little heat, there is OB on the left at that fence line. So that does happen occasionally where a player will just kind of blast it through there perfectly and take that skip and play OB back there. But yeah, you'd expect these guys to go backhand putter or mid-range. Try to get it just flat, straight out of the hand, and just kind of slowly dropping through that gate. Just a little wind to think about here. Sometimes a little is all it takes, though, on this hole. That's a nice shot. It's going to be edge of circle.
Here's a fun history lesson for all you new disc golfers out there that are just watching this course for the first time. Long time ago, this bamboo wall was simply a wall. There was no triple mando. You could throw a spike hyzer over it. Famous ace from Devin Owens way back in the day. It's just funny how this course has evolved over time. The spike hyzer used to be the challenging shot that players used to try throwing, and now it's throwing straight.
Yep. Yeah, it was much easier then. This is not going to work. Doesn't even hit the bamboo. So yeah, that's the worst case, really. I mean, he's going to have to go to the drop spot, likely lay up to take bogey. And McBeth is going to go forehand here.
I like this play a lot.
Yeah, you could just kind of throw it firm at the left side of the bamboo. Try to let the disc pull into the middle. Does it have enough distance? No. Aggressive run, but a little bit too much Anheuser to start. It's just those drop spots are far enough outside the gate that it's just really hard to keep the height.
Really haven't seen Paul pure one yet. Just throwing exactly how it looks like he wants to throw it. So just a little bit,
yeah,
unclean.
Wow. You could not have told me that we'd see no birdies here from this card. But that's how this hole can go sometimes. I wouldn't have believed it, but here it is. Matt was the only one to navigate the Mando, and he did it only barely and was not able to connect on the putt. So every one of these guys is going to be a little frustrated because this is certainly, if there's any hole out here that you can kind of get away with sort of expecting and kind of thinking, oh, yeah, I'll probably get that one. This is right near the top of the list.
Yeah, and hole number 8, I mean, not as easy as number 7, but still one that a lot of players can get the birdie on. You have some trees in the way. You can throw a roller if you want to get aggressive. You can throw a power driver shot that flips up and pushes straight forever. There's OB on the left side here. There's that baseball field on the right that is also out of bounds. The tough shot here is the second. It's really challenging. That slope steep to the left. There's an OB fence there. You're throwing something kind of technical to get up to the basket here, right, Nate?
Yeah, absolutely. And look how much they've kind of allowed this big bushy tree to grow in and just stay like 4 feet off the ground.
Yeah.
So the mix between that tree and then that hillside on the right, high floor on the right, low ceiling on the left, you have just a little slot to fit that disc through, and it has to go through there kind of screaming fast. And then you need to take that big skip. So forehand is a really good option. Backhand roller second is also pretty common. But then this stump, the next little bush is waiting for you. If you throw it great, often you'll be like 30 long and have absolutely nothing behind that big bush. So it's a tough shot. Position important off the first. Not really distance so much. And then that second shot just has to be absolutely laced through that low window. This is a really common line to start out with. Try to throw this flat forehand. There's one tree that blocks perfect shots. That's all. Yeah. And nobody really tries to miss it. You just throw it out here and go, well, hopefully it doesn't hit it. You'll see it here soon, that one. And he gets right past it, just on the inside, and that's perfect.
Yeah, that's a great shot.
Gregg saying right about now, miss that tree. And he does. It's just a really big difference. If you hit that one and bounce left, you're almost hopeless. You're looking at like a really long flex shot. If you finish beyond it, you have the perfect spot.
I'm intrigued by all these forehands. Is this something that the players have always done on hole number 8? I used to feel like I saw a lot more backhands.
Yeah, I mean, if you have it, you probably throw that. It's more open off the tee, and it stays away from the really long OB line down that right side the whole way. This guy is a backhand-only type of player, and I don't think he likes this one. Oh, I almost think that saved him from going out of bounds because you see that line right there. Another new thing on the course we haven't really mentioned yet, all the ropes now replaced, the ones that were up off the ground and now delineated by these boulders. It's visually a great change. Yeah. And I also have to shout out, as we see a nice, well-executed layup here, I don't think there's ever been a tournament with more clear and complete OB markings. And just considering the size of this property and the scope of the out of bounds, it's just an insane undertaking to have put all those rocks out there. And in between them all is just this perfect string right below. I don't think we're going to have many arguments about OB calls out there.
Definitely.
Gregg goes with that forehand, skips up, but then rolls back down. Kind of a net zero result. He was not going to be super close either way.
And also, look at how short this grass is. That's the other thing. There's the rope, there's the rocks, but they left the OB grass much longer than the grass that they're playing on right now.
Yeah, they've always tried to make them different, but they're more different than ever before, as we see a great roller there. But yeah, they've really let it grow up to the point that you don't even really want to throw a roller. You don't want to count on a skip. You don't want anything to do with that out-of-bounds grass. McBeth going to be forced to throw a flex a little bit, and that's going to get under. Almost. Wow, so close to perfect, but he's still going to have that C2 look. Man, what an effort. Up and over. Sits close to the basket, though. Sit. This can get ugly. Stop there. Okay, he's not behind the bush, but certainly more work than he'd like. Wow. And you just don't see that. You know, McBeth just took a triple. We're used to seeing him just right that wrong immediately.
Quickly.
You know, and 7 and 8, you know, nice opportunities to do that, and he didn't get it done. So looking to be a pretty slow start for Paul McBeth. Great birdie there, and this guy's on fire. 4 under.
Fantastic front nine. And here we go, hole number 9. We got the new trees in the way to frame up the tee shot here. You can lay up wide. You can obviously take your 3 here, but you can challenge this short OB and attack the basket on this green that's very protected. It is a long way to clear, and like you said, the OB grass now is much, much longer than the green, so you're not going to get many skips back in bounds. You're going to have to fly this green.
And I think the thing that really makes this hard, it's 10 feet to the out of bounds behind the basket.
Yeah, exactly.
If your disc touches those bushes, you're out of bounds. If you go out of bounds, your reward is a nearly impossible 50-footer, dead behind a tree to an elevated basket. So a really important drive.
He doesn't like it.
Could be a little long. Just out of bounds. He'll have that really tough putt. It's better for Matt Orum than most, though. It is kind of a spin delivery.
Yeah.
The putt that they're going to be left with. This is looking long as well. Yep. Can't really turn it over like that. Wow, perfect shot from McBeth. Undeterred by the festive prankster who's put spider webs all over the trees. Getting into that Halloween spirit a little early. McBeth not easily spooked. Great shot from Isaac. Going to school on the first 2. You see a couple go OB long, maybe change your shot just a little bit. So here is that putt. Even Matt Orum doesn't want anything to do with it. That tells you all you need to know.
It's not a great putt from that drop zone.
Gregg tries it, and he's going to have a little bit of distance left for his bogey. No problem.
Yeah, you step up to that drop zone, and it really just doesn't feel like you can even run it. I don't know.
Yeah, you can make it when you're playing casually.
Yeah.
It's a whole nother animal to eye that up in the championship and think about the consequences that come with it. It's
definitely.
It's a really aggressive spin putt type of line, kind of low ceiling because of that tree, as we see 2 great birdies and 2 predictable bogeys after the out of bounds. Well, that's it. 9 holes in the books. we have a couple guys alone at the top. Well, not alone, they're together, I suppose. 5 under for Garrett and Corey. Phenomenal start. We also saw a few 4s. Briefly, Matt Orum was in that company, but he just took that bogey to fall to 3. Good golf to start things. It's not the layout of old where you might see a 7 or an 8 on the front 9. It's a little bit tougher, and these guys showing that they can still bring it. We got 9 more holes coming up on the back 9 where things open up a bit. And we'll see how this shakes out. Round 1 of the 2022 United States Disc Golf Championship. Come back and join us for the back 9.